Hello, this is JacQuene Rainey, and this is my standards project. I chose the Council on Occupational Education, their accreditation process for this project. Currently, all of the colleges of applied technology across Tennessee, we are accredited through the Council on Occupational Education, and so every 6 years we have to go through the reaccreditation process. And so my institution went through our accreditation back in 2014, and so we'll be preparing for the next reaccreditation visit in 2019, 2020. So some information about COE, as we call it. It is a national accrediting agency by the United States Department of Education. And it was originally created in 1971, and it was under the Southern Association of Colleges and Schools, as we all know to be SACS, and they became their own organization back in 1995. What differs with the Council on Occupational Education is they accredit post-secondary institutions for certificate and diploma, and some applied associate degree programs. So all of the colleges of applied technology, our programs range from 1 year to 20 months, and their certificate or diploma programs. The council does not accredit institutions that offer any type of credential that is above an associate's degree. And so some of the organizations, public technical colleges, private career colleges, some federal, Army, Navy, Department of Defense institutions. These are some of the other entities that are accredited through COE. So part of the accreditation process and the reaccreditation process is called the self-study. The self-study is the process in which the standards of the accreditation, each institution, they have to adhere to these standards and show proof that they have gone through, that they do abide by these standards. And so part of the self-study is to examine the institution's qualifications and make sure that they do qualify under the guidelines. Purpose of the self-study is also strategic planning to improve the institutional services. You know, you provide proof, you say that you abide by these standards, but if you're not, it's a good tool, I think, to make sure that, you know, if there's some areas that need improvement, that you the self-study is a way to evaluate what you're doing, and if there are some areas that are lacking, then you can make some changes. And it also provides guidelines for the self-study in a manual. So all of the criteria under the self-study, the council updates that on an annual basis if needed. There are also training workshops that each institution has to attend as part of being accredited. So there are strict guidelines. And this self-study used to be that the self-study, all of the documentation, all of the documents showing proof of the standards, we called them, we'd have to put them in crates based on each standard area. And so now the self-study is submitted electronically, which, with technology, I think that makes it a little bit easier. Okay, and so after the self-study, this information, the accreditation will send out teams to the institution for a site visit. And so the purpose of the site visit is to determine compliance with the standards that's required by the accreditation, to assess the quality of the institution going by the standards and the criteria, and also looking at the documentation that has been provided. And with the self-study, they're going to look at the documentation, they're going to interview the faculty and staff, and they're going to also make observations of the conditions and how things are run on each campus. And so there are 10 standards under the Council of Occupational Education accreditation process. And so for the purpose of this project, we're talking about technology. Standard 2 and Standard 5. Standard 2 is the educational programs, and under that is admissions, recruiting, programs, and instruction. We'll be talking about that particular standard in technology, and then standard 5, the learning resources, which media services, instructional equipment, instructional supplies falls up under that those standards. So we'll be talking a little bit more about that. Standard 2, under educational programs, it states that orientation to technology is provided and technical support is available to students. And so when students are, uh, you know, going through the orientation process, we are to provide them information about the types of technology that will be made available to them. Part of the students' tuition and maintenance fees, we have what's called a technology access fee, and part of that money goes towards the purchase of computers, laptops, or any technology that's applicable to their particular program. And then it also states that 3, potential employers review each educational program annually and recommend certain recommendations. As you see here, there's a list, and I've highlighted instructional materials and equipment. Each program instructor has what's called an advisory board, and that advisory board is comprised of people from industry in that particular field, and they can make recommendations based on what they're offering in industry, far as the jobs, the types of equipment, technology that they're using that they would like to see implemented in the program. And also understand the 2 educational programs, distance education. There used to be 11 standards, and the 11th standard was distance education. Some of the technical institutions still have online programs, but some of the technology colleges in Tennessee have done away with the online education programs, and so they have embedded it in Standard 2. And of course, you know, dealing with distance education and technology, they're going to be looking at the quality of all courseware, course templates, and the management of the course in technology. And so under Standard 5, the learning resources, the media services are any type of instructional supplies, physical resources, technology, and so we'll be touching on some of those media services that the programs that they offer, what's embedded into their program of study. So under Standard 5, the learning resources, each institution is to have their own media services plan, and so this may be a little hard to read, but under our media services plan, it states that training programs are provided a variety of equipment as needed, required, and or requested, and this may include television sets, iPads, laptops, video cameras, computers, video recorders, and projectors, and these materials are used as instructional aids in the classroom, and so they may include reference books, resource materials, video, software, and YouTube. And so the purpose of having this plan is to ensure that technology and different resources are being utilized within that program of study. And this is just an example of one of our programs, the automotive program. You have to have a media services inventory list of what all you have and what all you provide. And for this program, they have 30 desktop laptops, they have 4 iPads, 34 video training sets, internet-based training programs, computer-based programs, and so each program has to have this inventory list showing what they actually provide to the student. And so these are just some examples of pictures that have been taken from these particular programs, because again, under the accreditation standards, you have to show proof. You know, it's more than just saying, oh, I have a plan, oh, I have this list of inventory, show me. And so this is just some pictures that have been taken of a couple of our programs and the computers and the types of resources that are available to the students. And these are a list of my sources, which I pulled my information. And again, this is my standards project, and it was on the Council of Occupational Education, the accreditation process. And again, COE is a National Institutional Accrediting Agency. Thank you.